Is it right, in my interpretation, that America's perception of what is going on in the Cameroons has essentially changed because essentially they call it an internal crisis, an internal conflict. I mean, you do not grant temporary protection status to an internal crisis, do you?
Yes, you do. We
Okay.
have done it in Liberia and we have done it in Sierra Leone. We have done it in South Sudan. South Sudan is one of the countries. We've done it in Somalia. Again, Somalia's problem is with Al Shabaab. So most of the time it is with internal crises.
What?
Uganda, Ukraine is one of the exceptions if you look on the list because Ukraine is the one where there's an external war going on. But in Cameroon, both, I mean, you could argue that the Boko Haram crisis is externalized because much of Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa is centered in Nigeria.
Now, this TPS uh, privilege extends, I mean, runs for 18 months. When it is 18 months, what is it going to take to convince America that it should be lifted? Or do you think, or is it extendable?
It is absolutely extendable. What happens is when it gets close to the period that it's going to expire, the United States government undertakes a careful analysis of the conditions, and a decision is made in Washington at what we call the interagency level to say, okay, we have the temporary protection status. Should it be let to expire, or are conditions still similar to a Cameroonian having to go back to Cameroon? Will their safety be threatened?
All right. Now, let's look at one critical issue involved with this TPS status thing. There is this debate amongst Southern Cameroonians to the effect that often at times these uh, rulings tend to benefit more francophone Cameroonians than they do Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians, who are actually suffering from the brunt of the war. How does the government, the US government, separate between the two to know exactly who is just an economic immigrant and who is actually running away from war?
Under this temporary protective status, all someone has to be is a Cameroonian. It doesn't matter if they're from, the Central African border or from Douala or, any Kusari. It doesn't matter. It applies to all Cameroonians. Cameroonians in the United States, immaterial of their immigration status, do not have to return to Cameroon at this time. And they are guaranteed a period of at least 18 months.
So again, this is about benefiting everybody who comes from Cameroon, no matter where from Cameroon they come from.
Absolutely, absolutely. They have to be very careful. They have to follow the procedures. As with anything else, there's obviously a bureaucratic procedure. There's a form they have to fill in, based on which the U.S. government will determine their exact status.
So if the US were to lift this temporary protected status, what would be informing them to do so?
The U.S. would lift the temporary protect. They will review it after 18 months, and in 18 months, if there is peace in Cameroon, if there's peace in the north, if there's peace in the southwest and the northwest, then they will lift the temporary protected status, and every single individual Cameroonian who is in the United States, they will revert to the immigration status that they have individually.